Speaking of like the past year with all of the news driven events, is there any trades that are trend following ideas that stick out to you as like a great trend of 2020 that you'll remember?
Well, Palladium made a lot of money earlier in the year.
Yeah, you mentioned that
Uh,
before.
uh, that sticks out as massive. Stocks to the downside, stocks were down 35% at the COVID crash.
Right.
And I hedged my ETF portfolio. I sold off about, I think I was down to about 45% or so
Wow.
invested
Okay.
and hedged on top of that. So I actually ended up becoming net short, which helped that.
Yep.
Um, with the crash happening and everything so crazy, long bonds was a good trade.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know about.
You know, all the crypto people that listen to this, Tom, are going to be like, Tom, crypto, Bitcoin, what? You're forgetting Bitcoin.
I'm not forgetting it. I just really don't care. I
Exactly.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Crypto uh, is an interesting concept, and I think that eventually there are going to be forms of electronic money in the future. It's unavoidable. I mean, physical printing of paper and
It's right.
carrying
It's
stuff
prehistoric.
around
Right.
it's yeah, that goes back to before you were born.
Right.
And in today's world, there's the Apple Pays and there's the Amazon Pay
Credit
and there's
cards and
the
everything.
credit
Yep.
cards, and
Yep.
you hardly, I mean, yeah, I rarely go to an ATM anymore.
Right.
There's almost, I mean, if I win uh, a cash tournament, on a Monday afternoon or something with the guys playing golf, that $50 or whatever I make, probably keeps me in cash for the next month or something.
Right.
I don't use a
Right.
lot of cash. I mean, even when you buy a drink at the club after the round, and what do? You sign it. It goes on
Right.
your account. You just don't
So you think
need
like,
cash.
yes, digital currency is coming, but Bitcoin to you is
Yeah,
still, it's not an
I
actual
think there's,
commodity, right? It's really
yeah.
not.
Well, here's the thing: to be both an investment and a way of paying your bills, you'd have to have a couple different things happen. First of
Okay.
all, to be an investment, it's got to have stability and lack of ability to have, there's got to be custody of the assets. You have to have confidence that wherever you're doing your wallet as a cryptocurrency is going to
Yeah.
be stable and will be
Right.
there and won't just sort of shut down for no reason.
Sure. Could be a
And
huge issue.
so that's one thing. The
Yep.
other thing is examine if you are I don't know, like I see in the picture, I get the dictionary on the desk over there.
Hmm.
Uh, Say you're a bookstore
Okay.
and you've got to price a whole bunch of things in Bitcoin. Well, when Bitcoin's gone up and down like
How do you do that?
3,024 hour period over a weekend,
Right.
and it's gone from like 22 to 27 in the last 5 days or something like that.
Sure.
How do you price it?
Right.
Do
You
you
can't. That's a great point.
I mean, you got this barcode on there. Do you have some kind of central computer that is tied to, I don't know, dollars or gold, and then it reprices it in Bitcoin
Right. It's
like
weird. Right.
during the day? If you
Right.
buy it in the morning, it's
Cheaper than it is in the
we're going to
afternoon.
use 25,000 for the price, and in the afternoon it's gone to 27,000, so you don't have
Right.
to pay as many of them for the same book.
Right.
It's just
Doesn't
be
make
a,
sense.
I don't know.
Utility there is
It's
off.
as more players come in and as things slow down and it has some value to it, then I can see it being a replacement for the dollar, but I just don't see it's very practical at the moment
I
yet.
mean, because even like the big news is all these bigger institutions like Michael Saylor's company and MicroStrategy, I think it's called, and Mass Mutual bought 100 million. But
Sure.
when you look at I mean, Michael Saylor is the outlier. Look at like Mass Mutual, look at other like
Right.
hedge funds, Paul Tudor Jones. The amount of
Right.
their overall portfolio hedged into this is very, very small.
Tiny
Yes.
little bit.
Tiny. It might sound like 100 million, might sound like a lot to some people, but it's nothing to these companies, to these funds, So I
Exactly.
think it's still showing, like I saw something on the internet today. It's like, are we the early adopters? I don't even think we're there yet. You know what I mean? It's still so new. Cause again, I look at it, I think you actually said this to me last time we spoke about It's a trade. And I think Steve Burns even mentioned this to me when I talked to him. He's like, you have to look at everything as if it's a trade. And that's how my mind
Right.
is programmed. So I was in Bitcoin earlier when we talked at like 4,000 and 7,000, and I was out at 12 when I saw the breakdown that I was like, hey, I'm 4 to 12. It's a good trade. I'm going to take this. Now, some people would be mad that they didn't sit from 12 to what it is now at 26. But my mindset is always just one trade at a time kind of thing. So I look at this Bitcoin stuff and these companies dumping all their money into it. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what if it does come down and it stays down? What if Mass Mutual gets in, or Northwestern Mutual now, they want to follow and they get in today and in 2 months it's lower? Aren't they going to be
I,
pissed?
I never trust our government totally.
No.
What's to say? Who's to say that the U.S. Treasury just doesn't completely come in and shut it down?
Right.
There's
Absolutely.
no reason why they couldn't try to do that
I
if they
actually had a
decided. Yeah.
conversation with a guy named Mark Moss. He's on YouTube. You would like his channel. You should check him out. And he talks a lot about the war on cash. And he was saying,
Hmm.
and he's a big Bitcoin guy. And he talks about these central bank digital currencies where they're being developed and tested all over the world. He's like, this could come in and really sweep things out. And I agree. This could come in and that could be what we see, where
Right.
there's an exchange from dollars to a federal bank coin or something like that. It will be an interesting next few years, to say
Well,
the least, when it comes to currency.
something happens like that, and you have a central bank competing with a Bitcoin. Bitcoin drops 50% overnight.
Bingo.